Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Anfield Index Podcast, broadcasting to you from my house in a field, still in beautiful rural Ireland. I am Trev Downey, and I'm joined today by Simon Brundish, who's guesting for the first time on the show. It's great to have him. By Marie Hanahan and by Kam Brainch. And I'll start with you, Si. Lovely to have you on the show, man. Nice to get a new voice to the mix here all the time. So we're hoping we can just have a little bit of fun. How you doing, my friend?
Great. I'm so excited. This is not my debut. I used to be on here for 2 years before Gags decided to, start counting cash and rob people.
Are you suggesting, sir? Are you suggesting that I am implicit and part of some sort of a fraud scenario? This is a very, very bad start. Oh, I know you are, man. I know you are, but just in its current incarnation since I took over, it's not a thing that we managed to do, and I'm delighted we're doing it today. So I look forward to seeing where you're going with your openings and all the rest of it. I'll be right back to you on that. But I just wanted to go to you straight away to acknowledge the fact that we have a new voice in the loop for the show today. And Kam and Lisa Marie, I will come to you as I usually do immediately after I do my little introductory bit. But I just want to say hello quickly to both of you because I know you'll have openings too. Kam, have you finished nibbling on that kale that you were eating there just pre-show to get your energy up?
Yeah, just licking my lips and just savouring every last minuscule of that lovely corner time.
I tried to give you an in there, man. I tried to let the folks think you were just chomping on some kale, but no. You've blown it.
They know better than that.
They do know better than that. Lisa Marie, what about yourself? Any pre-pod snacks for you there?
No, I'm actually still drinking coffee because it's early in the day here.
Yeah, we do tend to forget that. We are very GMT centric, and I can only apologize because it will never stop happening. I'd love to tell you it will stop happening. It won't stop happening because
That's all right.
We only think of ourselves, That's just how we are. So I have a little quiz for you guys, and I think there are 10. So that should work out. I'm going to give you 3 each. That should work out. So basically, what I was looking around because of last week's intro where I had Micheál Murhertig, the greatest of all Irish sports commentators in history, and he was describing how to make a sandwich, which was tremendous crack altogether and very easy on the ear with his dulcet Kerry rural tones. And so I thought, you know what? I wonder who people consider to have the most, almost ASMR voices. Who do you think people think have the best voices for listening? So I came across a couple of YouTube compilations, and the only one I could find that didn't have someone walking all over all of them with an intro and some of their own stupid rambling in their own distinctly horrible voice was this run of 10 here. So I'm not sure whether they're too easy or too hard, but we're just going to go with them, and we're going to go in the order that they went there. So Si, you're up first, then it's going to be Kam, then it's Lisa Marie, and so on. I think I have enough to give you 3 each, and we'll see who wins the quiz. So let me ramp this up. And I can only apologize because, of course, it's a phone being played into a microphone. This is the type of high tech that you get here on the AIP. So, Si Brundish, you're up first. Here is your voice.
Business, I'll go away happily. But if it's personal, I'll go away. But I won't be happy. Work. Play.
You know what? I didn't do you justice there. I'm going to give you a little bit more of that because I thought I had gotten it at an earlier point. Here we go. Let me just go to that again.
Business decision or is it personal? Because if it's business, I'll go away happily. But if it's personal, I'll go away. But I won't be happy.
So, what do you reckon? Any guesses on
Dude,
who?
you have no idea how. So the thing that I have with numbers is the opposite of the thing that I have with names. I'm having to check my screen to remember your names right now. I haven't got a clue who this dude is. I'm going the blonde fella from Dawson's Creek.
The blonde fella from Dawson's Creek is probably just about as far away as it could be. Fair play, though. I do like this. I have a sense Simon may not be the winner of this particular quiz. Let's see how it goes, though. I can throw it open just for the crack to the other two. Anyone got a guess who that is? He did voice a really well-known animated character in recent times. Fucking tumbleweed on the lines here. It is Will Arnett, who did Lego Batman and several other things, of course.
No way. That is down. That must be your phone because that sounded really tinny. And Will Arnett, like the sound of his voice would rumble my Pepsi Max.
I'm afraid it was a direct quote. Anyway, here we go, Kam Brainch, with yours.
Play, friendship, family. These are the things that matter. This is what we've forgotten. The simplest things. I will not sacrifice the enterprise.
Blown out a bit there. Kam, any guesses what you think that one is? Earth to Kaminder. Have we lost him?
He's on mute.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry.
Right, go on then.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. What was it? I know. Si knows it because he suddenly put loads of hands up in the chat. Yeah. Well, guess what? It's my go. You're not getting no bonus points here. So if you get a 0, I'm going to go for a 0 as well. I'm thinking of the guy in from Shawshank Redemption for some reason. Don't know why. Probably a million miles right now. I've forgotten his name.
The guy from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, what was his name?
Like
was it
The
Robbins?
black one or the white one?
Well, I know it's not Morgan Freeman, so I'm going to go for the white one here, Si. Let's play the race card already. God, it's not even been
I even
10
know his
since it's
name.
on. You know, and he's slagged off Tandon about cash, being a cash cow now. Now he's bringing black and white into it. I mean, where are we going next, Si?
You can keep deflecting from the fact that you don't know the answer as
Yeah,
long
that's
as you
beside
like.
the point.
So,
I
I
don't-
guess I'm going to throw it open to the other two then, I'm afraid. Go ahead. So, yes?
Yeah, Si raised
I
his
do-
hand. Let him go.
Go on.
You don't know at least. I know this. It's Mork.
It is Mork.
Oh, Robin.
It is old Robin Williams. It sure is. Yes, good. Now, I have to say, that just the way this has fallen, there's a bit of a clue in this next one, so nothing I can do about it. But anyway, Lisa
I'll
Marie,
probably need it. It's okay.
here we go with yours.
These are the things that matter.
Okay, there's the end of Cam's one. It's hard
This
to
is
speed
what we've
this up.
forgotten.
All right, Mark, get on with it.
The simplest things.
Here we go.
I will not sacrifice the enterprise. We've made too many compromises already, too many retreats. They invade our space, and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds, and we fall back. Not again. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. I am not in danger.
Okay,
So that's
So-
Patrick Stewart.
that is Patrick Stewart. The other lads are probably sickened, but
I would have
no
known
idea,
it
don't
without
worry.
the Enterprise because actually Star Trek New Generation is the only Star Trek that I ever watched. So, and it was because of Patrick Stewart, because he does have a fantastic voice.
He is the right Star Trek.
It is the right Star Trek.
It
It's the correct one. Although, I mean, I hope we're not including the original in this chat, because that's the only answer. But I digress. Okay, next one up. So this is a bit ridiculous, because this is going to be even more of a gimme than the previous one because of a hint in it. But anyway, so maybe a little bit of Patrick at the end, and then your one.
Not again. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
Okay, bit of a giveaway at the start in terms of character names. And I think even if it is a tinny phone, you can probably pick that one up. What is your call on that one, Si?
Okay, so I'm just guessing now. None of you listened to the TV pod that I used to do on here. I don't even remember what it's called. On the Box. On the Box,
I did listen to it.
We discussed the greatest TV shows of all time, and one of the winner was Dexter, and one of the runners-up was mainly because of gags was Breaking Bad, and I literally haven't seen it. So, but I know it's that guy because
you know it's that guy. So
he sounds like the guy. He sounds like the guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
So you've left me with a quandary. Can I give it to you for the guy from Breaking Bad?
Well, the fact that he threw in Malcolm in the Middle, I think yes, because he was also in Malcolm.
Bit of corroborating Bryan Cranston evidence. Yes, we'll give you that one. That's one each then for Si and Lisa Marie, but there are two more in this particular round. Next up, I think I'm right in saying is Kam. So here we go, Kam.
At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell. But as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe.
Right. Probably not a bad one, that, Kam. I imagine you've got this one in the bag, right?
No.
Oh.
He sounded familiar. Again, he sounds like the guy from Shawshank Redemption, the white one. I generally,
So what you're saying
I feel like you're getting all white men
Americans sound the same? Is that where you're going with
Yeah,
that?
that's exactly. I think you've both got, between both of you, I think we've discovered that it's Kam indeed who's playing the race card because he thinks all white Americans sound the same. That's quite grim, Kam. So no suggestions, no suggestions, my friend. No.
Yeah, I'm just leaving the chat now. It's nice now.
Kam has left the group. Okay, yes. I'm going to pass it over, and obviously we can see that young Brundish knows the answer to this one as well. I would have thought that was.
I raised my hand too.
I thought it was the easiest one. So it is who? Go ahead. Between the two of you.
Go, Lisa. You can have it.
Tom Hanks.
It is Tom Hanks. It's
that's the guy.
That's the one. That's the one.
He did also do a baseball movie. You're right.
He did. He's done several movies.
Yes.
The list is
I was
extensive.
thinking the Green Mile, not Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, he did do the Green Mile.
Yeah. Lisa Marie, you're up.
There's one with a ball on a beach as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
And there's one of him running somewhere.
Passed away.
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa Marie, you're up.
All right.
This very minute, dark forces attempt to penetrate this castle's walls. But in the end, their greatest weapon is you. Just something to think about.
Okay.
All right. I can't think of the actor's name, but it's the voice there was Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Very good. Very good. So all you got to do is pick the actor name. Do you have a clue? Like, have you watched these movies?
Yes, I've watched all the movies multiple times.
All right. So
But to be fair, there were 2 actors who played the character.
that is true. I think it was Richard Harris was one. This is the other
was
guy.
the first one. Oh shit!
Yeah.
What is the other guy's name?
This is the, no hands being raised this time around. I noticed.
All right. Is his first name Michael? Or am I
It
just...
is. It is.
Oh.
Jordan.
Jordan.
What a better play, bringing a person.
I can't think of the last name. I could see his face too.
Keaton.
Okay. Hey, I let Simon give, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle. So come on.
Well, yeah, it's going to be up to your fellow competitors if they're happy enough to give it to you as Dumbledore from Harry Potter. What do you think?
I had the first name. I had half his name too, by the way.
You know what?
I had.
Just saying.
You know what? I'm going to go in 2 foot here and say that you've got this one. Okay, that's 2 for you. And that is Michael Gambon is who that was.
There we go.
And that means that the last one in our little quiz is for Sai. Here we go. Oh, no, hang on. Did I start with you, Sai? I did
You start with
with
size.
you,
This
Sai.
is the last round.
So this is the
We've all
last
had
round.
3 each.
We've all had 3 each, and Lisa Marie's got now 2.
Sai
And
has 1.
Sai has 1. Okay, here we go. So if you can crack this one, Sai, we could have a tiebreaker. Here's the first one of the last round for you, Sai.
So you'll be spared your pain.
Whoa, that's not enough to deal with here. Let me go here.
Full anger strangling the grief until the memory of your loved one is just poison in your veins. And one day you catch yourself wishing the person you loved had never existed. So you'll be spared your pain.
Right. Tricky one at the end here for you.
Yeah, this goes straight to my brain doing the thing that I told you about right at the beginning. I know exactly who this is. I know which movie. I just can't remember his goddamn name.
Really? Okay. Can you give me...
Oh my god, I can give you 12 movies as in.
Go on,
Well, I
then.
can't remember the name of those either.
This is very good.
So basically, right, he is every mean Irish dad that wears a long leather trench coat and is secretly used to be some kind of SAS or Cobra soldier.
I'm giving it to you.
It's going to rip out your throat for stealing.
You got it.
your-
You got it. It's Liam Neeson, dude.
Liam Neeson. Jesus Christ, he's only won an Oscar. I wouldn't know that.
All right, Cam, you've got it. You've got an opportunity here to pick your score up off the floor. Your last one comes.
Is it from Shawshank Redemption?
No, it's not from Shawshank Redemption. I'll give you a clue. It's a white guy. Here we go.
Concealed within his fortress, the Lord of Mordor sees all. His gaze pierces cloud, shadow, earth, and flesh.
Right. How about that? I tell a lie. That's actually possibly, depending on whether you know the movie or not, either very easy or very tricky indeed.
Is it Serene? Is it McKellen?
It's not Serene McKellen, but you are in the right territory because you did pick up on the fact that, yeah, it's that movie, all right.
It's the other guy, isn't it?
It is the other guy. It is
Yes.
Christopher Lee. Is who it was, Christopher Lee. And that means, Lisa Marie, you have an opportunity to win it with this particular one if you can identify the voice.
No pressure.
Pressure, Lisa Marie. Here we go.
Fame rather than class. Now, after all this unpleasantness, I always get the best table. Speaking of the unpleasantness, oh yes, I suppose we better discuss your fee.
Right. Can you clinch it at the death?
Trevor Downey.
Yes, you got it in one. Oh,
Uh-oh. Go for it, Sai.
Fortunately,
I honestly don't know.
This is the first one in my wheelhouse. This is Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber. Is it? It's not Hans Gruber.
You kidding?
It's not.
Whose real name is
It's
Alan
not.
Rickman.
Well, look, if you want to be fussy about things, and Alan Rickman is actually on the list for later on. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not Hans Gruber, but it is a guy who's been in a
tried to
Die Hard.
Panenka and hit the bar.
It's been a guy who's been in a Die Hard movie as the big bad guy. All right, but I think Hans Gruber was number one.
He was in the first one, yes.
This guy is number
Jeremy
3.
Irons.
It's Jeremy Irons.
There you go.
It is. I think the best thing we
Scar
can do.
from The Lion King.
Yes, I think the best thing we can do is declare.
I thought that was
declare
Alan Rickman.
It's a cordial draw. We shall just declare that a cordial draw and move on to the main business of the podcast. Before I do that and get to the first topic, which I've thrown you a little bit of a loop here, it's going to be Sean Dyche because I want to speak about Sean Dyche. But before we do, I just saw some great picture of Dicey out in the lock. Before we do talk about Dicey and then get on to Liverpool and all the rest of it, it's common for me to see if you've got anything you want to open up with. Literally no pressure here because we have plenty to be talking about, but we'll go kind of reverse order this time. Lisa Marie, did you have anything to begin with?
I can use this either as an intro or an outro. Do you have a preference?
Oh, so you've got one.
I've got one, yeah.
Okay, let's keep if it's a quote, let's keep the quote for the outro because that might fit in nicely there. So I'll come back to you for that at the end. Kam, did you have any opening thought or anything specific that came to mind you wanted to mention?
No, I'll do mine as an outro as well.
You're doing yours as an outro, right? So that's the pressure's on you, man. Anything to open with?
Anything? Is this like a meaningless statement that I can?
Obviously, you don't listen to the show on a regular basis.
Yeah, how very dare
I literally never listen to it. No, you should see my list of podcasts. It's
I know. I'm just
really boring science, and that's it. I'm going with my opening remark, because I'm totally changing the context of this, is McDonald's is the greatest feat of branding of all time, given that its food is absolutely filthy, and yet it still dominates the world with people lying about it.
Oof. I knew you'd bring the darker conspiratorial element to it. I'm delighted with that. That's nice. We may well actually circle back to that exact topic because of something I want to get to at the end. But before we do, can we just give a little bit of credit where it's due to the absolute force of nature that is Sean Dyche, who gets sacked on a Sunday and is out, or a Saturday was it, and is out the next night at some local rock bar going to see a band. This is one of the weirdest things that I've seen this season. And then maybe it's not. And the reason I'm bringing it up is I kind of want to talk to you guys about it in the context of the league table. And just to show that we're not completely, although we are, completely Liverpool-centric, I just wanted to have a look at that question with you because it seemed to me at the time to be a bit of a weird one to sack Sean Dyche when he has a game less played than the two teams beneath him, and they are only 3 points off the team above them, and only, well, they're a considerable amount of points off the team who are above that. So do you think, and Si, I'll start with you on this, do you think that decision to terminate Dyche's contract was a kind of an acceptance of the fact that they have now sort of decided, right, we're done? Is that what that seems like to you with, what is it, 6 games left?
I think there's some more racism going on here. I think they're secretly, the board hate gingers, and they've been waiting to pull the trigger. They just finally saw the opportunity, went, fuck it. Ginger bastards.
Ginger out. Oh, yeah. You know,
they waited for the sun to come out. That's what it was. They saw the pink skin, and that was enough for them. Made them sick.
just triggered their inner latent hatred. Yeah, I don't know, like on a basic level, it seems a weird one. I have to say, I did not see that coming, unless he's got something lined up and they're opting out. Because again, where I'm going with this, and I'm going to have to clarify this live, man types as he talks, and I'm typing Manchester City fixtures in case anyone's wondering what the banging is. I think, unless I'm mistaken, don't Manchester City have them in their run-in? Have I got that wrong? Oh, no, they don't. They don't. Okay. I was worried about it as a kind of potential on the beach game for any opposition for us. But no, I don't see Burnley in there. In fact, they played them quite recently, didn't they, and beat them 2-0. Okay, that's okay. That takes away a lot of the stress from that topic for me. So I feel better now.
I find this is such a weird. It feels like it'd be interesting what Elisa thinks. It feels like one of those British cultural things that we do, in that Sean Dyche is he plays the worst football, absolute scummer. Why wouldn't you hate that prick? And then all of a sudden, everybody's feeling sorry for him. And the Burnley the racist ginger Burnley bosses, they are now the evil enemy. And Sean Dyche, who he did something. He was good at his job. Who cares? But the thing he did was an atrocity. Nobody liked that stuff. And now he's not good at his job anymore, because really coaches have a shelf life of 3 years, and he hung on for dear life. And he deserves to get sacked. And why would you have sympathy for him for the football that they produced anyway? You don't have to just whack the ball long and fight people and spend 38 minutes of ball in play time and cheat to stay in the Premier League. You just don't. There are lots of examples of the proof of the contrary. That people now, this outpouring, suddenly people have this great respect for this guy when they didn't before. It makes me sick. I'm not a big Sean Dyche guy.
I can't really 100% agree that people didn't have respect for him before. I think he was pretty highly rated.
But maybe 3 years ago when they finished like 8th.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. I would have an exactly identical opinion around the type of football that he played with Burnley of late. It was always beyond agricultural and basic and highly unattractive. But I guess it was always functional enough to survive. And that's actually interesting. Let me hop that to you, Lisa Marie, before I finish with Kam on this. As a comparative recent recruit to watching a lot of football, do you find that is a real feature of watching Premier League, that there are certain teams who you just know are going to, like Simon says, almost make your eyes water as you watch the, really sort of basic and often quite ugly style? Or can you, again, because you've mentioned coaches from different American sports recently on podcasts, can you see, a certain level of why people might have some admiration for someone who can keep a team in a difficult league, even if it is by any means necessary?
Well, yes. I agree with Simon that, you are definitely not going to be watching anything entertaining when you are watching Burnley play. It's just, in the last few seasons when we've played them, I'm just hoping we get through with them without them damaging one of our players, with all the big, rocks that they have. But I do have a level of admiration for Sean Dyche for, knowing that he, from what I understand, it's been a very, a shoestring budget, if you will, and being able to keep that team, up in the Premier League, for the last few seasons. So I think there is something to be said for that. But the thing that struck me the most was I just thought it was such weird timing. I mean, why, you've got 6 games left? Why,
Yeah, it's really weird. Let the man see the
season out, and then, sack him after the last game. It's just very strange. Very, very strange.
You're right. They've got 7 games left. They've got a potential 21 points to play for. And Kam, with that in mind, let me just go to you on this to wrap this topic up, because it's the far end of the Premier League. But again, we're egalitarian on this show, and we like talk about all things football. On the bottom there, you've got Norwich propping the whole lot up, and Watford are only a point better off, and they look pretty much done and dusted. An awful lot of people seem to think, although, to be fair, like I said, Burnley are only 3 points better off, and then Everton are in 17th with a game in hand over Burnley and 2 games in hand over the bottom 2, and they are 3 points ahead on 28. And there's a jump then to Leeds, who've played 2 games more than Everton, and they are some 5 points ahead of them. So if you had to call it now in terms of who finishes where, do you think the table pretty much stays as is, or could you see, is there the potential? Well, there is the potential, but do you think it's likely that Everton might slip into that?
No. The table will stay as it is. I felt that way 2-3 months ago. I just felt the bottom 3 deserved to be the bottom 3, despite how atrociously bad Everton have been this season. They've been fortunate that there's been 3 teams that have been worse than them throughout the whole season. I mean, I'm just looking at the table as well now. Burnley have won 4 games, Watford 6 games, Norwich 5 games. You don't deserve to be in the league. You're just whipping boys ultimately. Everton have won 8 games along with Leeds. It's just, bottom 3 is shocking. Burnley have been shocking for years. I mean, I've wanted Burnley relegated for years. It's you as a fan, how can you pay money to go and watch that? They're just robbing you blind. It's as simple as that. It's just not. There's no satisfaction in watching that type of football at all. You may as well just go down to the local park on a Sunday morning. You know, it's the same. It's not. There's not a huge amount of difference. Go and support another local team that needs money, rather than pay for shite like that.
Absolutely fair. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about that. Now, I'm not sure if you have seen it today, but this is just to introduce the whole City game, because I'd like to talk about the FA Cup semi-final if we could. I'd like to talk about whatever aspects of it you want to bring up. But there's just one thing I'm going to introduce. I can kind of predict, I can imagine where you guys are going to go with things. But there's one thing I want to pick up on. It's a Mail article that I sent on to Kam there earlier on. Just left me speechless, I have to say. A remarkable concept for an article, which basically suggests the following. The Mail Sport Online tweet goes like this: if Pep Guardiola's side want to win the treble or quadruple in the future, then they need a bigger squad to match Jurgen Klopp's side. And this is by a fellow called Jack Gohan. Now, the mind boggles. It really does. And I can only assume that is a very cynical, clickbaity type article, because I won't be clicking on it to actually read it. But if that's what they're putting in their tweet, you know that that's what they're driving at, and they're going to try and get some outrage and all the rest of it. But it's a remarkable, remarkable thing. And it makes me, again, I don't know what you thought, but again, let me throw this out there before I go around to you guys for your takes on the City game, whatever they happen to be, whatever aspect of it you want to talk about. But let's also just frame it up with this. The responses to Liverpool's win at the weekend, from what I can see, from what's some people seem to really enjoy retweeting imbeciles onto my timeline, and there are times when I flirt with possibly ridding myself of the individuals who do that all the time, and then I realize they're just good lads and they're good ladies, and they're just getting a bit off their chest. So I just let it go. And I've gotten very good at taking a deep breath when I look at my Twitter timeline and just saying, yeah, it's okay. And let people say what they want to say, because I will regularly disagree to the very core of my being with people who I know are nice people and kind people, and we have stuff in common, but they say some ridiculous shit. And they then when they're in this sort of negative mode, can retweet all these imbeciles onto your timeline. And some of the bitterness in the tweets I've seen from opposition fans, I mean, what it tells me is we're doing something right, I have to say, because I've never seen anything like it. People are doing circular logic. They're tying themselves in knots, trying to come up with hot takes about why we are this or that or the other, and it's always uncomplimentary. So with all that in mind, Simon, what was your big takeaway from the City game at the weekend? I mean, whatever aspect of the match you want to talk about.
The single biggest one is we won. The smugness that affords me is just, you can't buy that. You really can't. I didn't go to the game. I don't care about the FA Cup. The only thing that remotely intrigues me about it or enthuses me in any way is that I do appreciate what the opportunity is for like families to take their kids to see. It's a great occasion. I saw the 86 double. It was like one of the great moments of my life, and so that I think is a wonderful thing that we might go down in history winning the 4 trophies that we entered. Is the coolest thing and the only thing that I care about for the FA Cup. So I don't care about the FA Cup in the first place, right? But screwing with City and screwing with City fans is just a joy and a pleasure. And seeing the cognitive dissonance that followed to all day with the article you talk about. There's one in the Times, there's one in the Guardian, there's one in the Telegraph. Miguel Delaney's done one. There's one on CNN. 5. I saw 7 of them today, and they all say almost exactly the same words. It's one of those weird. Suddenly, the media have exactly the same narrative. Where does it come from? It must come from the Twitter, the TikTok higher ups or something. They see statistics on TikTok of what triggers people to click on them, and so they all write the same thing. Or I don't know where it comes from. Utter garbage. How can the same papers talk about the genius of Pep Guardiola, how much money he spent, and poor Pep can't compete because he doesn't have a big enough squad? How can those 3 things exist at the same time? Blows my mind, and it doesn't boil my blood. It just it makes me laugh at how ridiculous they all are.
I mean, that's my take as well. I have to say, because, like I said, you see people just. They must be quite literally physically in knots by the end of writing an article like that, because it goes almost beyond cognitive dissonance into kind of a level of madness and denial that's required to come out with opinions like that, and then to sit down. It's kind of psychopathic, really, to sit down and go through the act of writing out that article and hitting send on that article and being happy to stand over it with your name and a byline. It's weird stuff. And
do you not find it's weird how they can write these things, but they're writing about City's team can't compete with Liverpool's because Liverpool's squad's bigger now, but they never give credit for building the squad that Liverpool have built on a third of the budget that City have.
It's almost like that fact doesn't exist, and because that's not in the first fucking paragraph, which it should be. Let's be honest. That's the point. That is the whole point. I mean, it's
the story should be how amazing Liverpool are.
Yeah,
that's it. That should be the only story.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that long ago since I was talking to both Lisa Marie and Kam here about how I felt a level of frustration that I can't really fully articulate, that we have. In our potential best era, with our potential best squad ever, we have to deal with these sports washing fuckers and all that goes with that, and the ridiculous depth and riches of footballer that they can assemble there. And now it's as if that point of view is kind of quaint, because all of a sudden something happened in the last couple of weeks where the squad that we had when I was saying that is now 11 times better than Manchester City squad, and poor Pep. I mean, it's beyond.
Also, poor Chelsea. You
poor
now
Chelsea
have to go from two sport washing teams of more than a decade to feel sorry for them both. It's oh, if I had hair, I would have ripped it all out.
I know. And you know, can we just say something as well about that on the Chelsea thing? And I'm going to come to you for your City takeaway in a second, Lisa Marie. Sorry, Kam. I'll go to Kam next. But can we just say something about the whole Chelsea thing as well? Because this is relevant. I saw somebody, and again, this is a person who I kind of have a lot of time for because of some of the things that they espouse and some of the things that they say and some of the football opinions that they have, in fact. But after Chelsea beat Crystal Palace to advance to the FA Cup final where they'll be playing us, and the squad for that game was announced, there was someone who printed the Chelsea bench, which had Kepa, Thiago Silva, N'Golo Kante, Romelu Lukaku, Christian Pulisic, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Sal Niguez, Hakim Ziyech, and a kid called Malang Sarr, the only one who a lot of people wouldn't have heard of. And he said, Chelsea's squad depth is shit. Look at this. And I'm going, are you serious? So now where we are, Simon, just to finish on this with you, where we are is where we are with so many other things in the world. You just say a thing and then it's real. And now that's your position and you're sticking with it. You don't have to interrogate those facts. It's fine. You've adapted the position and it doesn't matter if it's inherently idiotic.
Yeah. You just have to ignore facts and just pick ones that make you happy, it seems. Can I give you maybe 10 words? Conor Gallagher, Tomoe Bakayoko, Ethan Ampadu, Matt Mazanga. Let's go with Emerson, Kurt Zouma, all lads on loan from Chelsea. So yeah. Chelsea had this massive squad, and they just loaned everybody out anyway. Like they have this tiny squad supposedly of 38 players that can't get a game, and then they've also got this massive. I think they had 42 players out on loan at the beginning of the season. They've sold a bunch of them just to get around financial fair play, which was genius on Chelsea's part of the way they've manipulated it. But still. Fact remains, they've got a shit ton of players, really good ones. Perfect example would have been literally the FA Cup semi-final, of which they controlled who their opposition couldn't play their best player. And we're supposed to feel sorry for them. It's just so weird, man.
Yeah, I think it's important because you don't hear this. People don't say this. It's not pointed out. It's important that there's at least one or two shows just saying this. On a semi-regular basis. Lisa Marie, moving away then from Simon's take on City, what was yours? Was it a similar one? Did you have a completely different takeaway from it? What was it?
You going back to like the match itself, or just Manchester City in general?
Anything to do with that game on Saturday, or anything adjacent to it, whatever you like.
Well, the first thing my husband pointed out when we were watching the game Saturday morning was the big banner that Manchester City had to put up to cover the empty seats that they weren't able to get people to sit in.
Yikes. So. Yeah. That was a very interesting thing. There were, fortunately, and I think you'll probably agree with me, it was unfortunate there weren't several more empty seats, given some of the idiots who made themselves heard on the day. That's been discussed and talked about in many different podcasts, and unless Kam wants to come back to it, we'll skip past that. But aside from the shortcomings of City in terms of selling tickets for a freaking semi-final, I heard someone.
No, Trev. They sold them all.
Oh, they did.
Of course, that's exactly how they do at home. They sell out every game. It's just that half of their fans are so rich they don't go. Apparently,
that would appear to be the case.
They sold all of their tickets.
Yeah. So sorry, of course. I should have said that.
Absolutely, we misspoke.
That's what makes it more egregious, is that these people don't. They're not ours.
They don't even come.
They're not ours. That's quite remarkable. Anyway, sorry, Lisa Marie. Apart altogether from that, was there any takeaway from the match? Some people have referred to that as possibly the best 45 in the Klopp era. That may be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, as you and I were sort of messaging at halftime, the first half was fun to watch. We've had our conversations before about football. I feel as though we jinxed ourselves perhaps, but that's okay because it all turned out all right. But yeah, I mean, it was so nice to be able to just sit back and kind of watch the first half of the match I was expecting, for my shoulders to be in knots by the end of the game, just from being on the edge of my seat and, tense about what was going to happen. And, the first goal went in. I was like, all right, okay, yeah. And then, and then I'm like, I can't, and as it continued, it's like, how are we 3-0 up at halftime? What is going on? And anyway, so it was, it was very much, but even still, the second half, while, it didn't go maybe quite the way we would have liked for it to, it was still, I didn't still have that level of tension that I really honestly expected to have for the entire match. So that was refreshing.
I agree with you. I mean, yeah, it's Manchester City, and yes, they got their goal, and yeah, we changed things up, and then we had, the team that we'd all like to have. And sorry, I'm getting my games mixed up. But we did sort of change things up a little bit, and whatever. I didn't feel that anxiety either. I have to say, it felt, even though we tried desperately to give them an opportunity at the end of the game, it just felt okay to me throughout, which is nice, and it's not a feeling you're used to having. I'd agree with you completely on that. And Kam, again, I mean, I want to get whatever your takeaway story was. If it's been covered already, you can feel free to chat about the next thing, the last topic I want to bring out today for the show, which is an awful lot of people are very big into NFTs at the moment. But we have our very own very, very dominant NFT at Liverpool. It's got nothing to do with any of those shitty little caricatures that they're selling to people. But we've got the Naby and Fab and Thiago midfield that an awful lot of people have been hoping to see for a long time. I think yourself included, it seems like now that they're all fit and available and in good form, it's hard to argue with that. Starting all the big games, which means all the games between now and the end of the season. Feel free to jump into that topic if you want, but go to your own story first, man.
Okay. Well, where do I actually start? I mean, I was thinking, do I start with the empty seat situation and how there's only 73,000 at Wembley, which is capable of holding 96,000, 95,000, whatever it is. Because I remember when I went to see Liverpool versus Barcelona, there's 95, 96,000 there that day, predominantly Liverpool fans. So I thought, do I go there? Do I go to the disrespect shown during the minute silence? I'd love to get some sort of measurement quotes or readings of the decibel levels when that disrespect was shown, because it certainly felt louder than anything the City fans produced later on. It wasn't just a small minority. It felt from, well, we were sat in the stadium and I was sat behind the opposite goal. And even in my hard of hearing state, it was loud. Well, it was loud enough anyway, and it felt louder than at any time when they shared the two goals. Then I was thinking, should I go to the NFT situation? And, but obviously that's something we'll discuss after what I will go to. And what I will go to is that moment, we're 2-0 up. It's around the 20th minute mark. And the Liverpool fan base showed why we are one of the best fan bases in the world. That moment when we were just all on our feet, singing LA, 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 the scarves were going, it was just one of those moments where you've seen the clip, the BBC clip that's showing the fans, and then they show Klopp with the fans, Klopp and, obviously you see Klopp, and then you see the fans behind, and the hairs on the back of your neck are just going up, just watching that clip. You've seen the clips that people in the Man City end have taken and have said, wow, that is real support. And that's what it was. It was a genuine moment where we were just so in sync, and it was just so beautiful, and it was just so glorious, and it's so magnificent. And to have been there, to be in the middle of it, and to have participated in that moment, it's something I'll take to the end of my days. It was like there's 40 odd thousand Liverpool fans in there, give or take, yeah. And that was it was louder than Anfield has ever been that I've ever noticed. It was just something else, I know I've said a lot, but at the same time, words fail me to do that justice, to give it justice for what that moment was. And other clubs can only be envious of that. Other clubs can only be jealous of that. What we have as a football club, the connection we have now as a football club between the manager, the players, the coaching staff, and the fans, and even to a point, with the hierarchy, what we have right now, nobody can take that away from us. Nobody.
I'm glad you went there, because there's a certain smugness that Si mentioned earlier on that I felt. And I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you anyway, because you were in the ground. It felt like a home match. It really kind of
more than a home match.
Yeah, like it sounded at times, so dominant. And, I know there's a bit of a discrepancy there, but it shouldn't have been that much that they couldn't make themselves heard, but it really was.
They couldn't compete on the pitch, and they couldn't compete with us off the pitch.
Yeah.
There are levels in football, and there are also levels as a fan base of how you conduct yourself within supporting your team. And it was evident on Saturday. You could hear a pin drop in the City end. You would have, that's what it was like. You in our end, it was bedlam. I mean, don't get me wrong. When they scored the 2 goals, as you would, a little bit of, when they got the second goal, a little bit of nerves kicked in. But I'd said before the game, I mean, one of the lads had asked me before the game, said he always wants a prediction. I'm like, I don't do predictions, Come on, give me a prediction. I said, all right, we're going to hammer them today. He goes, why? I hadn't seen the team lineup yet as well. I said, we're going to hammer them today. So I said, well, he goes, how can you say that? This is Man City. So I'm just telling you, we're going to hammer them. And we did. We hammered them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, 3-2 in the end. But we could have had 2 more. They could have had 2 more. It's the way the game went at the end. But that first half, we hammered them. It was like the 18-19 Champions League semi-final against them at Anfield when we were 3-0 up at half-time. First 20 minutes, we blew them away. We hammered them. And that's what happened there. So, yes, go on, Si.
So, do you want to come in?
The beautiful smugness that you're so right about our fans and the connection and the club. My wife is a lifelong Derby fan and a season ticket holder, and she is now thoroughly a Red. Though gutted today, Derby have gone down, but like she often says, like how lucky we are and our kids that they are born into this, and this is the religion of their lives. And from working within the game, like coaches all over the country at our biggest opposition, they talk with envy about the connection with the club, with the fans and the city, and the unity is totally unique. In this country, I think there are other clubs around the world that have it or have something similar, but like no club in the country have this like visceral connection. This not just visceral, like the stuff we've suffered through that connects the club and the humanity to the people that nobody else has gone through. And it's like loss and tragedy and victory and success. The combination of those both ends, absolute ends of the spectrum of human feeling, that is what gives you connection. And I think partly that might be what the cynicism of some fans have towards the owners, because they feel like they can't possibly, they can't possibly share that. But we have it with each other for sure. Like it's and the clubs around, the coaches around the country, they are absolutely they love going to Anfield, and they are very, very jealous of the situation that we have, and the amplified by the very, very unique character that is Jurgen Klopp.
I'm glad you went there, because there's nothing that sums up what you're talking about, what Kam's introduced as a topic, better than that thing that is now a glorious end of match tradition, where he runs to the fans and does the triple fist bump. I can't tell you how much I love that. I love it on so many levels. It makes me feel happy and gooey inside. I love the manifestation of that connection the two of you are talking about. But I also think there's a bad part of me that's thinking, oh, this is fucking winding up other fans so much, because they don't have this shit. They've never had this shit, and they never will have this shit. Even Ferguson didn't do stuff like that to connect with the fans when United were at their absolute peak. And I just find it's the best symbol of what you guys are talking about at the moment. And I am just keeping an eye on the clock, guys, and it's rocking round to the hour mark, and I don't want to keep people much longer than that. So I'm happy. We don't have time to talk about United, which is the next game up, because the show won't have any time to breathe before it's on top of the game, which is tomorrow night. We will probably be reconvening, hopefully, if everybody can, before the Everton game. So we can talk a little bit about hopefully how that United game went, and how the Everton game may go on that particular show. But like I say, with the time sort of rolling around, let's finish it up. And I've introduced that idea of the Keita, Fabinho and Thiago midfield. And I'm just going to get a quick take, no more than a couple of sentences from each of you about that. Don't feel you need to go into any depth to justify your position. I just want to hear your take on it. I'm going to start the ball rolling by saying that I hope that, when we rock up to an FA Cup final, when we rock up to those to those Champions League semi-finals, and I would have to say in most of the league games that are left, in other words, in most of the games, if we can at all, I would hope to see that combination. And it's got nothing to do with agendas about any other footballers. It's just that I think they are the best for us at the moment. Simon, can I start with you? Because you're going to have to put your scientist hat on here, and you're going to probably tell me I'm talking nonsense, because there are other very, very important factors that come into consideration, especially when you're talking about lads who have had injury histories like Thiago's most recent history, and obviously Naby Keita. But I can't help feeling what I feel. I want to see those guys doing it. I think they are the best platform for whatever three are ahead of them. Your take on that, Si?
I am totally in love with this midfield. It's the midfield that I've dreamt about for 2 years. They are everything and more than I'd hoped. Thiago might be the best midfielder I've ever seen in my life. He is the fantasy that I have. He can do the fantasy that I remember Glenn Hoddle and Platini doing when I was a kid, that made me fall in love with football in the first place.
Yep.
While
whilst being a snide Graham Souness type bastard, but with a cherub of a face, so you don't ever think he's being thuggish. He dictates the play like you think Xabi Alonso did, but he didn't. If you live through it, he didn't. He didn't do these things. Thiago is the best version of this. Keeping him fit changes our season entirely, and now we have Naby, the Naby that we were promised for a year after paying all of that money. If anybody listens to UP, you will hear me talk about a cruncher, a buzzer, and a spreader is my perfect midfield. This midfield have those three, but not only do we have those three, each of those three have the perfect amount of each of those three attributes. It's wonderful. I want to see it as much as possible, and they're gonna drive us to the all 4 titles, and I'm so happy.
I love it. I was thinking it was going to be me that would get in the first 4 trophy Reds reference, but as long as it's life, I'm not going to stop saying it. Lisa Marie, your take on this going forward, like, is it caution out the window? If we can get these guys onto the park between now and the end of the year, we got to do it? Or do you have a kind of anything else in your head? Like, I mean, do you think, well, actually we can't do without whatever intangibles are offered by having your captain on the pitch, or do you have and taken it yourself?
No, we have to do whatever we possibly can to get those 3 lads on the pitch.
Okay, and Lisa Marie, you're taking it?
Oh, I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, I was just thinking as both you and Simon were talking that it's probably the fact that those 3 were on the pitch was part of what was contributing to that lack of stress watching the match on Saturday.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really think about it at the time, but yeah, I mean, you just have a different level of confidence when Naby, Thiago, and Fab are playing. I mean, you just know that they're, chances are, I mean, not to say everybody can have an off day, but they're going to get the job done, and they're going to do it with, that level of skill and calmness and everything else that is who they are to get it taken care of. I mean, I have to say, and I don't know who the commentators were for my FA Cup coverage, but I mean, it was sort of refreshing that even one of them was singing Thiago's praises throughout the match, which I thought was, a little bit different than what we often hear. They were even going so far as to call him a maestro. So, I think others maybe are starting to realize the impact that he has when he is playing, in the midfield for us, and the level of control that he brings and everything else. He's like the conductor. He is, he is directing the orchestra that is our team.
Absolutely. So, and that the involvement in the Sadio goal, which may be one of my favorite goals of all time.
Beautiful.
I mean, just everything about him is just so spot on at the moment. I agree entirely with both of you. And Kam, bring it home for us. Your take on the midfield going forward for the rest of the season. Have you got any wild, contradictory notions about it, or are you as excited as we are?
Oh, can I be contradictory?
Please do.
Not on this occasion. I can't. I'd love to be. No, this is the midfield 3 that I've always felt are technically our best 3 midfielders that we have at the club. The skill set that they all possess is just wonderful. They all 3 bring something different, but they, as Simon said, they also bring something the same as well, and that's control, I think. And if you control that midfield, you win football matches. It's as simple as that. And these 3, you can give them the ball anywhere with any amount of players around them, and you're not thinking, oh my God, why have they, that player received the ball in that position? With those 3, you just know they're still going to do something with it. I thought Naby first half was absolutely phenomenal. I thought the pass from Thiago for Sadio, where he just he just paused. People don't see that pause, and just before he dinked it over. There's just a touch of a pause, but it's also his movement, because when it was a give and go pass. If he doesn't go, he doesn't get to do the dink, and it's just that their intelligence is miles and streets ahead of anything else we possess at the club. It is a question of keeping them fit and available for the rest of the season. I as much as I'd love to see them start the next 11 games that we possibly have available, I don't think that quite happens. I still think they will be managed going forwards in certain games, and I think rightly so. You've got to use the squad that we have available, because there's always that little nagging little fear in the back of your mind that one of the 2/8s is going to just break down on us for whatever reason. So I think we've still got to be just a touch cautious on that in that regard. And we've only really had a sample size of 2 games where the 3 of them started. That was Benfica away and the game on Saturday. So let's hopefully get another 20, 30 games, 40 games, 50 games, 60 games out of these guys going forward, because teams are finding it difficult to live with us as it is. Just imagine what it's going to be like if those 3 can play that many more games together.
100%. It just feels like a platform on which titles are won, I have to say, and hopefully that will be the case, and we'll be able to wax lyrical about those very titles. And we're just going to wrap the show up with a last minute thing from anybody. So if you want to give your quote, if you want to give the only other alternative I'm going to give you is a plug, a quote, or if you want, you can give us a TV rec. Any of the 3 are A-OK by me, because they're all good ways for us to wind down the show here. So we'll go in our same loop we've been going in for the last while. Last words from you then, Si. Anything you want to finish with? Either, like I say, some sort of a thought or sum up thought, or something that's been on your mind. Or if you don't have one of those, give us a TV rec, or what was that third one I said? Oh yeah, a plug.
Nando's is the second worst pile of lying shite. I can walk out of my house and find 50 people who will lie straight to my face and tell me how amazing it is.
I used to love Nando's.
It was great. We were taking down 2 chicken-based behemoths on the back of Si's contributions tonight. Nice one, my friend. I really enjoyed that contribution. Lisa Marie, you going to finish with your quote, or do you have a plug, or do you have a TV rec for us? Which are you going to go with?
No, it's not exactly a quote so much as a description.
Oh, yeah, go.
This dessert starts with a moist and easy vanilla cake. The batter is so simple to put together. You could simply use a whisk to combine everything. Then there's the berry filling. You could think of it as homemade jam, but not quite as thick. Use an even mix of strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, but you could use whatever combo you wish. The mascarpone whipped cream frosting is used to add to the cake filling and to frost the cake. It is so light. You basically make whipped cream and add mascarpone cheese to it. Just be sure to add the full amount of powdered sugar to make sure the frosting stays stable. It makes a great addition to the cake and keeps things light and fresh. Berry mascarpone layer cake has layers of fluffy vanilla cake, fresh berry filling, and mascarpone whipped cream frosting. It's light, fruity, and the perfect dessert for spring. And also what I made and served at Easter dinner yesterday. And I'll just put a little photo in the chat so you all can admire it.
This is inspired by Mihal's sandwich last week, isn't it? Tremendous.
A little bit.
Yeah, tremendous. I love it. It does sound quite tasty indeed. Thank you very much, Lisa Marie, for that. And you almost did it in your please step out of the airplane voice, which makes it all the better.
My narrator voice.
Yeah, your narrator voice. Kam, what's your final thought for the show before we wrap it up and get out of here, my friend?
2. I've got 2 little things. Firstly, TV rec. I've just finished watching on Netflix Race, Bubba Wallace, about the African American NASCAR driver. They did a little documentary on him, about 5-6 episodes, I think it is. So that's well worth a watch. And for this second bit, I'd like Lisa and Si to both come off mute if they could, because I want them to share in this one. And today is the 18th of April, and 9 years ago today, we sadly lost the Iron Lady, Anne Williams. And I think it would be nice if we just did a little round of applause for her, because of all the good she did, the Hillsborough campaigns, and I think an applause is more appropriate than a moment of silence, if that's okay. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
And this is Anne Williams.
Absolutely. Super idea, Cam. Thank you for
Lovely.
that, because in the context of what happened at the weekend, that's a nice, pure moment to end on. Look at Size Cake. Holy shit. We're getting stuff dropped into the chats here, folks, like you would not believe. That's purdy. We should wrap it up here. I want to say thanks to Si for joining us this week. Say thanks to Lisa Marie, and thanks to Kam as well for their contributions. I've been Trev Downey. This was the Anfield Index Podcast, and if you like it, and if you listen to it, unlike Si Brundish, you should tell your friends. Spread the word. Get it out there. Let people hear what we talk about here, the madness and the sensible and all the parts in between. We will see you possibly again at the end of the week before the Everton game, and after the Manchester United game, which is tomorrow night. It's a hell of a time to be a Red. Hope you're enjoying it. Take care. We'll speak to you soon.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index, and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.